So this cop got paid $30K to leave after their colleagues discovered their OnlyFans account. So is this basically this chick, Colorado lieutenant, she claimed she was forced to quit her gig after colleagues discovered that she had a secret, her OnlyFans account. I was in shock and panicking because I never wanted these two parts of my life to collide, Melissa Williams, 46, said when she was resigning, in which she reported she received $30,000, which isn't that much. But I was sort of, what was making me laugh about this, I mean, among other things,
Yes.
the first part is like the girls getting fired for their sex stuff and then starting OnlyFans is the equivalent of the university professors that get fired and start podcasts.
Yeah.
like this is the girl version of like wine
Or the Me Too guys going to crypto.
Brett Weinstein.
Yeah.
This is the girl version. The guy version is getting fired and going into crypto or podcasting, and the girl version is getting fired and showing your titties.
Yeah.
But
she didn't even get fired to start she got fired because of the OnlyFans. She was like, true. I started the OnlyFans because it's like a little fucking.
Well, Brett Weinstein got fired because he didn't want to do no white people day, right?
No white people.
And then he has a career of no white people day or whatever. She got fired because she didn't want to quit her OnlyFans. And then she's I
mean, again,
she's old too.
Yeah, and it's so weird because she's just like, oh, I just I have such a stressful job. I just use it to blow off some steam and make a little extra money or whatever. And then you're like, first off, people do that kind of stuff if they really are like want to be pornographers. They post pornography of themselves with just not their face. They're not trying to make like money out of it.
Huge,
They do that. But like for her to think like, oh, it's so crazy that this got found out. You're like, it's kind of like you had to have thought at some point. Like it's very possible that like, someone is going to come across this.
Yeah, no shit. And the beginning thing is, it's just when you start a job contract, you go, are you allowed to do this or not?
Yeah.
Because there's a million jobs where they go, hey, if you're going to work at this company, you're not allowed to be like out there talking shit on the internet or whatever. It just depends on what the job contract is.
Yeah, like I'm sure there is something where you're like, yeah, you can't fucking be a pornographer if you want to be a cop.
Or a school teacher or something.
School teacher, yeah. That's like not that insane.
That would be Steven Seagal. Remember when Steven Seagal was getting busted? When Steven Seagal had his show Lawman, where he would always go into the new precincts and teach all like the veteran cops how to be a better cop, even though he's only done it on he's been doing weekends of copping. And he did one where he was teaching them how to shoot, and then he put I always talk about this, my favorite, but he put a match 200 yards away, and then he set up a match, and they lit the match, and then he shot the match out from 200 yards away. Well, I'm sure they did 10 trillion takes.
Yeah, he did 1,000 times.
But the thing is, every time people would be getting busted by them, they'd be like, "This motherfucking Steven Seagal."
Oh, right. That was like Shaq was like a deputy in Florida for a minute too.
But
Shaq,
yeah.
So you're like your door gets broken down, and it's like Shaq.
Shaq's busting. He's walking in your door. He walks through it, and like there's like the head imprint on the door frame.
Yeah. Nothing better though is Ronnie Coleman being a cop. That's by far, Ronnie Coleman, the fucking Mr. Olympia dude.
Yeah.
And there's like when he was like he had already won. He was a cop. He had already won, I think 1 or 2 Mr. Olympias. This is like one of the most. He was like 300 pounds of like pure like juiced up muscle, like just an insane human being. He couldn't wear pants as a cop because his like pants don't fit him. Yeah. And he was like, yeah, I like being a cop. And for a couple years after he had won Mr. Olympia, he was like still a cop. So he was like arresting people. And you're like, this is the most jacked guy on earth.
Yeah.
And he's just like arresting you for
those Mr. Olympia guys weren't getting that much money.
No, he was. He said I heard him on a podcast.
He just did it for the love?
On Rogan. He's like, honestly, I was a cop and then I was making all this money and I just like doing it.
But when Arnold was Mr. Olympics, he was still doing his landscaping company and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. And then eventually he's like, it was too much. I was like getting famous and I couldn't be a cop anymore. But
well, that's this girl. You go, wait a second. Is that fucking Jiggly Titties 42?
Yeah. No, she puts the cuffs on you. You go, hey, tighter, please. Tighter. Oh.
Well, she's kind of busted. Like, did you see her?
Busted for.
It looks like a mom.
Yeah.
But she's got big fake titties.
Yes.
Big fake titties, but like not appealing.
I mean,
like
she's appealing to somebody.
No, put it this way. If you were at a bar with your buddies right now, like the same age we are exactly right now, or even younger, and this girl came up and she was like, hey, baby, I want to take one of you guys home. We'd be like, that'd be funny if you did.
She's like a cougar.
It would be funny to do.
Yeah, but she's like, looks like a cougar. And not hot. No.
Yeah. What would you do? Do you find it weird to do the podcasting even though you have your ass gape fucking OnlyFans?
I have a butt plug in right now.
How funny is that though? The idea that she said that in her thing, she was like, and it's a strenuous job, so I like to come home and blow off steam
by making some pornography.
But like, in what way? Imagine you go, that's a tough day out there. The bad guys almost got us, but in the end, the good guys won. Anyways, do you mind holding this webcam for me? You're blocking my titty light.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what she thought.
Hey. There's nothing.
You'd think for someone who deals with criminals all day, though, she'd be like covering her tracks a little better.
She may be a low-level cop. She wasn't a detective.
I guess. I don't know.
There's only one thing that's going to stand in the way of me and justice. These big old titties. She needs to do a cop voice when she does her porns.
Think so? I don't even know if she did porns. I think she just did photos.
Do you ever decompress after a big day? Just come up and you go, oh, fuck. You know what? We shot, then I fucking podcasted, then I went, had like 3 meetings, then I had to go do 3 sets. I got home at 1 a.m. You know what? And your chick's like, hey, do you want to watch TV? You're like, no, I need something even more decompressing. I'm going to send a bunch of my dick pics to Reddit.
Can we just take some super high-res photos of my asshole? Just super close-up high-res photos of my asshole.
After a big day of, working the law, dealing with perps, the only thing that I can do is, I want to just get if you don't mind, rearranging lights so I can spread my labias.
You know what I wondered looking at this photo, though, is like, because she's got some huge cans, but you don't see it under the cop outfit.
Jitties. You say
I guess it's because she has the vest
compresses
on.
Them down.
Yeah, so it's almost like how
Did that bother you?
How trans men, they do the binding or whatever.
Okay.
Like, so you know how like they
she
do that?
binds them like
she kind of does. Those are some tig old bitties.
They are tig old bitties.
They are.
They're fake tig old bitties.
I know, but I'm just saying when you see her photo of her in uniform, you're like, where are those things?
Yeah. Well,
yeah. And
the interesting part was 1, she has 2 kids. And 2, the husband was running it. So all the pervs that thought they were dealing with the cop, it was sort of she was doing sort of a police sting on these people too, because the husband was out there dealing with it.
I mean, he was her pimp, I guess.
Would you ever be able to run your girlfriend's OnlyFans? How would that work for you, pal?
I mean, it would have to make a lot of fucking money.
You think you'd be
definitely not? Imagine the guy who's running your girlfriend's OnlyFans that makes like $800 a month, and you're just like, ugh. God,
she was making not that much.
Yeah, like I'm saying, it's like
$3,000 a month.
Making $80,000 a month, you could look the other way. You're making fucking 800, and you're like, oh God, this hurts.
That's the thing with you. There's almost like I know you well enough to know that I would hate you, but I also know that you well enough to know that if the money was right, you'd have no
I would
choice.
Hate it, but it was like
you would be reluctantly.
I would hate it regardless, but I'm just like I would hate it less.
You would have no choice. You would have no choice but to be messaging these guys. I'd love that. If you had a girlfriend, you're making $2 million.
And I'm like literally just texting guys being like, so what are you going to do to me?
You're doing the podcast?
Like, oh, man. It's like, how fucking, what are you wearing right now?
I'm on my knees right now.
Do you ever see that there's this Mr. Show sketch? So funny, but fucking like, it's, they like he's like he makes him some bet and he goes, I'll bet you like an hour of phone sex or whatever, and then he like loses the bet and he goes, all right, and then he goes, all right, I'm gonna get this phone sex. They're like in an office and he calls and like Bob Odenkirk like picks up and he goes, horny slut hotline. He goes, no, I don't want to. No, he goes, we had a bet, and it's like he's like, you said phone sex. Yeah, it's like with me, and he's like, no. It's like I thought it was gonna be like no. It's like what? And then he's like, has to call back and like they do phone sex.
Well, that's you anyways when you're running your girlfriend's OnlyFans inevitably.
Yeah.
I'm going to get in her ear and be like... She's also wearing a shirt in the thing that says my nipples offend you? So there was an empowerment outfit.
Oh, and she got a nipple, they're pierced too, I see.
Wait, did they offend you though?
No, it doesn't offend me.
Oh,
her insane hot dog tan offends me. She literally looks like a hot dog.
Tan Mom. Dude, Tan Mom could probably make bank if she came back with an OnlyFans.
Who's Tan Mom again?
So Tan Mom, if anyone who wants to Google her, she was like an original... See, now when people get famous, they kind of don't go anywhere because they all have big social...
Oh.
Like, if this was 15 years ago, you'd already never hear about the Island
Tan Mom and
Boys.
Howard Stern.
You would already never hear about the Island Boys ever again, right?
You kind of aren't even hearing about them. That fizzled out like...
No, they're still around.
I know they're around.
Because they keep doing stuff with other rappers because they have a big social media platform that they can still go viral again. But back in the day, someone would kind of get really popular and then that'd be sort of the end of it. Mm-hmm. Their 15 minutes of fame were up, right?
Yep.
So Tan Mom was literally got famous for she gets really tanned.
No, it says she got arrested for taking her 5-year-old to a tanning salon in New Jersey.
And she's crazy brown.
Yeah.
Browner than anybody. It was the original
what's so
Rachel
funny?
Dolezal.
Her fucking, if you Google her, it says tan mom Patricia Krenzel, musical artist. That's how she's
Tan
like.
mom's trying to be a rapper
No,
now.
but Google, that's how Google like classifies her as a musical artist.
Yeah. I'm tan. You're a pussy, Dan. You know, it's mainly diss tracks about Daniel. But yeah, so the other thing she's, you know, by the way, finding nudes of a coworker would fucking rule.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Finding out that like a coworker that wasn't putting it out there at all, they were going around.
I gotta say, I'm actually kind of surprised that I've never come across someone I know on like a porn site.
Yeah.
Just based on the fact that there's so many different people on there, and you're like,
We actually know actual porn stars.
I know, and I've like never come across one.
And then she said, she told the press that she felt as if her fellow officers weren't actually seeking justice, but rather they just wanted to see her naked, especially as if the alleged investigation, the lieutenant's saucy snaps, were allegedly shared widely around the office because everyone said they were doing research.
Yeah.
So I'm doing my research.
I'm doing an investigation. Goes in, you go into the fucking like lieutenant's office and goes, I need 20 grand in cash for a sting.
Yeah,
You know, like they
exactly.
need to buy and they're just buying
And
a
she's
bunch of
basically like, I think that they just want to see me naked, which is, ladies and gentlemen, that's the Boyscast duh of the week. It's ridiculous. But then, so she went for her empowerment angle too, because she goes, I loved my job, but could I go back to work in an environment like that, said Williams. It was hard enough being a woman on the force, right? So she's already getting into it. People have always been jealous of me because I'm successful, attractive, and confident. So you think the guys that were looking at the news, you think they were jealous of her? Everyone's jealous.
I mean, this is probably gonna fucking, this whole controversy is gonna up her OnlyFans subscriptions. I'm sure of it. So,
Duh.
I guess she has.
It wasn't up that much though.
No.
No, but she thinks she's a dime.
I mean, that's a thing. That's a genre.
Yeah, it is sort of a job.
Oh, her Instagram's
Milf
private now.
Interesting.
Yeah, your favorite wife next door.